You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lanes. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Devin, coming on here earlier than we planned. I will be back on tonight with Nevada and Sports Talk Jay on the Scoop channel as well, but had to hop on here. Told you guys last night, if you watched my show last night, that I had an interesting conversation yesterday about the transfer portal that had me excited, and I wanted to do a show as soon as possible. Well, looks like that news dropped before I had the chance to tell you guys what it was. Chaz Coleman officially in the portal. But before we dive into some of that, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on both channels, Buckeye Scoop and Buckeye Boys. Super chats are open. I know it's a different time. See people rolling into the chat a little bit late now, but going to dive into a couple things. Buckeyes lost a wide receiver today as well, so we'll dive into all those things. What up, Roll Tide? What up, Gio? Appreciate you guys being here. I know both you guys were listening last night. That news dropped before I had the chance to get on here and tell it. That's the piece of information I wanted to share that I was excited about last night. I had heard last night that Chaz Coleman is going to be officially entering the transfer portal. That he did. He is defensive end. The Buckeyes were in his recruitment late. They offered him late. And, you know, with the defensive ends in that class, we needed somebody, to come in. And he ended up signing with Penn State. There was some momentum there. We thought we were going to end up getting him. The Buckeyes ended up signing Epi Satanile as well in that class. But boy, Chaz Coleman, I would not have predicted. I believe he was I got it right here. No, I don't. I believe he was a 3-star, maybe got bumped up to a 4-star in the recruiting rankings. But when you watched him this year, his freshman year at Penn State, for instance, when he played the Buckeyes, he was one of the only players on that Penn State team that really stood out to me, man. True freshman, Chaz Coleman, 6'5", 246 pounds, Ohio native. Buckeyes were in his recruitment. And I'll just tell you this, guys. After that game, everybody saw Chaz Coleman walking slow off the field. They saw that Buckeye individuals speaking with him afterwards, the Penn State coaches coming up and kind of dragging him away like, hey, get away from that Buckeye guy right there. We know what that conversation's about. Even then, during that time, there was a lot of smoke that, hey, man, if Chaz Coleman enters the transfer portal, he is going to be a Buckeye. Now, we know in this transfer portal era, especially at the defensive end position, that takes some money most of the time. But I do believe in this situation, the Buckeyes have set themselves up in a pretty good spot. It will be a position of need. How much of a position of need will that be will depend on Kenyatta Jackson. What does he end up doing? And that will depend on kind of what he does in this playoff run here. I expect Kenyatta Jackson to kill it in this playoff run. And even so, I think, the Buckeyes will do everything they can to get K-Mac and Kenyatta Jackson back. But either way it goes, losing Caden Curry, Zion Grady's been stepping up. We got Epi in the trenches as well. We got CJ Hicks in there. But adding Chaz Coleman to this roster, would be absolutely huge. It would be huge. The kid is dynamic, super athletic, kind of like a Arvell Reese type of athleticism, maybe not at that level, but 6'5", 246, not your Jack Sawyer defensive ends yet in the 270 range, but definitely a rushing the passer type of QB. And I have talked to several sources before this happened. The source I talked to yesterday seemed very confident that if Chaz Coleman hits the portal, that he's going to be a Buckeye. And that's not the only source that has told me that either. They don't feel like this recruitment is going to be so much about the money. The nil offer does need to be like fair and in the range, but the Buckeyes do that, man. They are willing to pay. And also another side note here, the Buckeyes were actually able to sign this 2026 class a little under their budget that they had prepared for this class, right? What does that mean? It means there's a little bit more money available for them to go after some players in the transfer portal. So I should have done the show last night, let you guys know. I was told Chaz Coleman's going to be entering the transfer portal. Well, here we go. He's officially done it. We'll see how this thing plays out. The portal doesn't open till January 2nd. So we'll see. I don't know exactly how that works. Somebody in the chat, the Buckeyes can't reach out to him till January 2nd, correct? No, I know that's right. So we'll see how that, but there's all these back channels, especially a player out of Ohio. There are so many staff members that coach for Ohio State that either know his coaches, know his family. There's so many ties there, right? Where Ohio State can kind of get in this back channel thing. Now, is that against the rules? I don't think so. I think it's one of those gray areas. The rest of the nation does it. You hear all these coaches talking about all the tampering that's going on. I mean, Eli Drinkwitz was just whining about it. And honestly, I don't know if I can hate on him for that. It's just like, man, if everybody would just follow the rules, things would be a little bit better. It's getting a little wild. Everybody knows there needs to be, guardrails put up. But until those guardrails put up, I'm all good and well for the Buckeyes to operate in that gray area in this sense of back channels, communicating with these guys a little prior to the portal to start building that relationship, because everybody else is doing it as well. So this is big time news. As we talked about last night, Penn State hired Matt Campbell, wondering, right, if he's going to end up being able to keep a player like Chaz Coleman around. In my opinion, a player like Chaz Coleman, I haven't read up if Matt Campbell's bringing his defensive coordinator over or not, but doesn't really fit the Iowa State defensive scheme in my mind. But obviously a player like that you can plug in anywhere. But either way, obviously didn't feel comfortable with the hire that they made. I don't think he was comfortable. I mean, even with James Franklin there, if I'm going to be honest with you, there were rumors of that already. So we'll see, guys. Hopefully the Buckeyes, actually it's not hopefully, the Buckeyes are on top of it. That I know. The Buckeyes are already on top of this as much as they can be in these certain scenarios. So that's exciting. If we end up landing Chaz Coleman, I'm going to be stoked. And I am predicting Chaz Coleman to end up a Buckeye out of this transfer portal. But things can change so fast with the amount of money. Somebody is going to throw this kid a stupid large bag. And it's going to come down to is it going to be like the Chris Henry recruitment where he ends up, following his heart over his head, where, his head's telling him take all this money, but he sees what Ohio State has to offer. It would be an awesome place for him to go. Some more news about kind of where the Buckeyes are looking for players. The Buckeyes are looking for a running back. They are looking for an impact running back. And some people might say, well, we got Bo Jackson. Well, we got Isaiah West. Well, we got Turbo Rogers. Well, we got James Peoples. I understand that, and I agree with you. But the Buckeyes, right, with injuries, they want depth there. They need depth there. Isaiah West and Bo Jackson and James Peoples and Turbo Rogers, really the only one you can say out of that group now, like is like a true lead back, true, hey, you can depend on me type of back, and has proven it, is Bo Jackson. Do I think Isaiah West has that capability? I do. Do I think Turbo Rogers has that capability? I do. The Buckeyes think that as well, but they haven't seen it yet. So they're going to go after that. The name that I have heard, and it's also been reported by a Florida insider, a Texas insider, Florida running back Jaden Ball, big old body guy. When I watched Florida this year, him and Vernell Brown are the only two players that stood out to me when I watched him. Now, he hasn't entered the portal yet. I'm being told he is. He could have already. You guys might know it. Gio, did he enter already? Jaden Ball, did he officially enter the portal? That's what is being reported. The Buckeyes are definitely interested. He knows the Buckeyes are interested, but here's the problem. The problem is it's being reported that Texas is already, the reason he entered the portal is because Texas threw $1 million offer his way. So that's, the Buckeyes aren't going to do that. Now, did they pay Quinshon Judkins $1 million? No, they did not. That's not their style. That's not what they do. That's not what they have like set aside for the running back position there. And this is where you get in that argument of, right, some people want the Buckeyes to pay up when they need to. Some people don't. I'm one of those people. I don't want them to, right? Sometimes in the moment I do, but I would not want them to screw up that culture in their room, screw up the balance of the room. They cannot go pay a transfer portal guy more than they are paying a current starter. Think about that for a second, guys. Do you really want our coaches to do that? I don't, because I mean, we love the culture here. We love what Ryan Day is doing. There's a reason why it's this way, right? There's a reason why, Oregon comes over the top with a money offer to Chris Henry Jr. Everybody said the Buckeyes should have upped their offer. There's the reason they didn't. How would Jeremiah Smith feel if Chris Henry Jr. comes in making more money than he made his freshman year? You see what I'm saying? There's all kind of dynamics here that can throw things off. So I'm on board with what it is. And then the other thing about the Buckeyes, it's the city of Columbus. There's not some other professional football team there that if you are in the city of Columbus and you play for Ohio State, the opportunities you're going to have to make money outside of what the school is paying you is essentially unlimited. You are the star of that city, and it is well known that there's several Buckeye players there that collect money from the school, and also several other opportunities that they have around the nation. So I'm all for it. Gio, yes, Ryan Day will not overpay for a recruit, period, and I'm down with that. I love it. So, there's some other names floating around about who the Buckeyes would be interested in. I haven't got any of those confirmed yet. There's the linebacker Gideon. I got told to keep an eye on that one, but I haven't been able to confirm that one yet. But Jaden Ball, Chaz Coleman, those are confirmed. I think Chaz Coleman will end up a Buckeye. So that is very exciting. Coming in here as a sophomore, he will have 2 more years of eligibility left. So the Buckeyes really want those type of players. If you look at last year's portal, man, they went hard for Bo Atkinson. Why? He had a couple years of eligibility. Justice Terry, 3 years of eligibility. Phillip Daniels, couple years of eligibility. What up, Sean? Yes, guys, this is not the only show. I'll be back on at 7:10 with Nevada and Sports Talk Jay. This is if you guys watched me last night, you remember me telling you, hey, I had some exciting transfer portal news that I really wanted to get out to you guys as fast as possible, and already broke. Unfortunately, I was trying to get it to you guys before it came out. Hayes Fawcett dropped it. Chaz Coleman entered the portal. So I figure I might as well do it now. It's out there. So here we are. But on another note, Buckeyes lose their first player to the transfer portal. That's wide receiver Bryson Rogers. Once that's done, I mean, it's kind of like I'm for that. You know what I mean? I don't think Bryson Rogers would have ever got meaningful playing time here. And I know this is his junior year. And I believe he's got one more year of eligibility left, maybe 2, something like that. A lot of people kept saying, hey, next year he's going to have that shot. I'm just giving you guys my opinion. I love him. I think he's a heck of a player. Some people are super high on him. I just don't think he ever would have saw, a lot of playing time here. Toledo, Geo, but you can't see it though. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a very bad habit I have. I need to stop it, but that's why I hide it from you guys so you don't see it. So give me 1 second. But yeah, wide receiver gone. That, a lot of people are talking about Mylan Graham entering the portal, and I'm curious, guys, chat, where's that coming from? Where is your guys' feelings that Mylan Graham is going to enter the portal? Is it because he was a 5-star? And you think that he thought he was going to get on the field earlier? I think most people's perception that he, Toledo, I got you. I took it out. Most people's perception of that is because of these, with the fans, the expectations we have created for Mylan Graham. Okay. I got to meet Mylan Graham. He was hanging out with JJ, Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, Mylan Graham. I went bowling with them at an SFE event. He seems to be really ingrained into this Buckeye thing, really in for the long haul. He's more of a quiet kid, not real flashy. He doesn't strike me as the type. He strikes me as the type that's going to sit here, keep getting developed, and push through this thing. I don't expect Mylan Graham to hit the transfer portal at all. He came in late, right? He wasn't an early enrollee, so that already put him behind his freshman year. And then he comes into this year with JJ, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. And there hasn't been a whole lot of rotation there. You know what I mean? There just hasn't. And I do understand that when JJ and Carnell were out, we saw David Adolph come in. Well, that was senior night. Remember that. And we saw some other players come in, but another year in this program, Mylan Graham still has the ability. He still has 5-star potential. He is still that dude. I do not agree with anybody that is giving up on Mylan Graham, saying, hey, maybe he's not it. I'm not there whatsoever. I know he had a couple drops in a couple games or whatnot, and listen, I could be proven wrong. This isn't some, I guess in a way, it's a little bit of inside information. I got to hang out with him. I got to meet him. I got to see the type of kid he is. This isn't hearsay. I was there personally. So based off of that interaction I had with him, but obviously things can change. So more people, Bryson Rogers had 6 catches this year, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. He's going to leave with 125 yards total, 11 catches in his career at Ohio State. So, again, I kind of expected this. What up, C-Dub? Merry Christmas to you too, man. Appreciate all y'all in here, man. I know it's an early show, but a lot of people talking about Lincoln Kienholz as well. I fully expect Lincoln Kienholz to enter the transfer portal. That's not inside information. That's just my feeling, because that makes sense. I almost want him to do that. You know what I mean? Because I think he could be a really good player somewhere. I think he deserves that. I don't think he's going to sit around and be the backup for Julian Sand again. Some people are talking about him waiting around, being that backup, and then fighting for the starting job with Tavian St. Clair, not next year, but the year after. I mean, he loves Ohio State. I know that, loves this coaching staff, but I don't see him sticking around. I already talked about Mylan Graham, Sam William Dixon. I expect him to hit the portal. Damari Witten came in as a wide receiver, was recruited as a tight end, came in as a wide receiver. He put out a cryptic post on Twitter. He'll probably end up leaving. So some players on the offensive side of the ball, I expect definitely some offensive linemen, right? With the offers they're going to be getting, I expect some offensive linemen to be hitting the portal. To me, that might be where we only get our gut punch, right? Where we see a player leave that we're like, dang, man. I'm not saying Ian Moore, but I'll use Ian Moore as an example. I think we might lose, or even a Carter Lowe, one of those players that we know can make an impact here in the future, but it's such a position of need for so many people. And a lot of these teams will just go wild with their offers. So the real only gut punch I could see happening with this Buckeye team is somebody on this offensive line. Okay, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. That's what I see. The tight end room, you might ask if Max LeBlanc's going to enter, but he's only in his sophomore year. When they brought Max in, he knew it was a developmental position. That's a 3 or 4 years. Stick around. We'll see what can happen there. But we'll see. On the defensive side of the ball, CJ Hicks, a lot of people talking about him. The fact that he's still here is the only reason it makes me feel like he's not going to enter the transfer portal. The fact that he took a red shirt, it sounds like the coaching staff sat down, had a conversation with him, and he's down with the plan that they have. Does that mean, do I feel like he would get playing time next year? No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm up in the air there. I think CJ Hicks comes back, but if CJ Hicks doesn't come back, love the kid, but I think we can all be honest that that's not going to be some gut punch. Chat, would that be a gut punch to you guys? Listen, I know us Buckeye fans, it's hard for us to get real about some of these players sometimes. I love the young man, love that he stuck around and all that, but been around for a long time, hasn't made an impact. I would love to, if he does go somewhere else, I'd be rooting for him for sure. And then Malik Hartford is the other one people are questioning. Man, that Caleb Downs spot is open. That Lorenzo Styles spot is open. Some serious, open spots for this secondary. Matter of fact, I believe the Buckeyes are going to go in the portal for a corner, right, and some secondary players. So we'll see if Malik Hartford sticks around or not, but we will find out. Let's look in this chat, see what you guys got going on. I saw somebody asked Eric McFarland reclassing to the 2027. Yeah, I knew that was. I've been known that was coming. And just was told not to report on that yet. Let him make that, announcement himself. Again, if he could commit right now, recent interview, like as in yesterday interview, he talked about Brian Hartline leaving, but and literally said in his interview, but Ryan Day is still there, but they are still Ohio State. So I'll tell you this, I met Eric McFarland too. He's been on the channel, friend of the Buckeye Boys. You want to talk about a zoned in, focused young man, literally since he's been in the 8th grade. It's no wonder he's one of the top players, one of the top wide receivers in the class, because he is a difference maker, man. But we got Jameer Brown, right? So do we have room to bring in another level wide receiver like that? We'll find out. He loves the Buckeyes. Oregon is in on Eric McFarland pretty hard. They're so annoying with their crap. They wouldn't be so annoying if they could actually develop these wide receivers that get over there and put them high in the draft somewhere. But I haven't seen them do it yet, so we'll see. All right, what else you guys got? Scott's not going in the portal, no. I'm excited to see Aaron Scott get on the field. I have expected him to play a little more. Yeah, hey, this is one of the biggest things. I'll dive into this deeper in another show, but this is one of the biggest things that I'm very curious to see with Brian Hartline gone is what happens with the rotation now. Oh, I remember the question. Has Ryan Day interviewed any offensive coordinators yet? He has a stack of over 100, what do you call those things? I'm having a brain fart right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He's done a couple phone interviews with people. I know the LSU wide receiver coach has been interviewed. I know you're asking specifically about offensive coordinator. it is kind of curious what Ryan Day is going to do in that regard, because you lost 2 position groups, right? Where we're off is that most teams don't have a specific quarterback coach. We got Billy Fessler as one of the 10 countable coaches. So, we lost one of the 10, but lost 2 spots there, offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach. So I don't know how that's going to get handled. If, he's going to go out and hire an offensive coordinator that can also coach wide receivers, or what he's going to do there. But all I know is I trust Ryan Day with that, and we will, go over to Scoop Message Board. And there's a big old thread about that. The first that we hear of names and whatnot, I'd put a large sum of money that, where did you guys see Matt Patricia's name first last year? Scoop Message Board. Where did you see Brian Hartline's name first? Brian Hartline, being the offensive coordinator, got announced on the Scoop Message Board last year, I think 2 or 3 days before it officially got announced. So, all right, you guys are in the right place to find out who that is going to be. That's all I wanted to come on here and talk about. I'm upset at myself. I should have stayed on and continued my show last night. Let you guys know about Chaz Coleman. But I didn't expect him to come out today and say it. I thought it'd be a couple, a little bit longer. But it's exciting. I am not one of those people. I do not want Brandon Ennis to hit the portal. You guys that are saying that, I don't think you guys know the dynamic of this team, right? There's way more to football than what players do on the field. And with as young as this team is, we need Brandon Ennis next year, right? Brandon Ennis leaves. Explain to me who's going to lead this wide receiver room. Yeah, you got Jeremiah Smith. He's more a quiet leader, leads by example. That's okay. You gotta have a vocal. Dude's a captain. Okay, that's just. I don't want Brandon Ennis to go anywhere. Yes, he's very aggravating with the punts and all that stuff. And could he play better? Yes, but he's a little bit overshadowed. J.J. Smith and Carnell Tate out here, guys. Okay, I think Brandon Ennis can make a pretty big impact, right? But he's playing beside 2 first-round draft picks. One of those first-round draft picks is going to be probably the number 1 overall draft pick. Number 1 pick and a top 10 pick is who Brandon Ennis is playing beside, guys. So I think everybody should calm down a little bit there. I don't know what else to tell you, but he's got so many intangibles that you got to have on this team. That's my opinion there. See, we got Gio. Thanks for the $5, brother. Unfortunately, I think it's a certainty that Lincoln Holtz will be in the transfer portal after the season. Maybe he can play for Brian Hartline at USF. A lot of people keep saying that, man. A lot of people do. USF has a really good quarterback. I don't think he's entered the portal yet. I know he opted out of the bowl game, which would indicate he's probably going to enter the transfer portal. I think that's where Brian Hartline, I think that's where all his focus is right now, is literally trying to keep his quarterback from entering the transfer portal. One of the reasons why I, am excited that Ryan Day is taking that play calling ability from him. Because dude, he's got too much on his plate, bro, to come here and focus on this. I'm not too worried about it being a distraction for the team anymore. But I'm worried about the amount of time and focus Brian Hartline can actually put into game planning for these playoffs. I just am. He's the head coach somewhere else. He's got to deal with his players entering the portal, trying to keep them. I just think it's too much. I think it'd be too much for any coach. I think, I'm excited that Ryan Day is having way more hands-on approach on the offensive game plan so far. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's going to be a pretty awesome show at 7:10. I promise you guys want to be there. Sports Talk Jay, Nevada, me, 7:10 on the Buckeye Scoop channel. Be there, man. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button on your way out. If you're watching me on Scoop, man, I also stream on my own channel called the Buckeye Boys with a Z. Go to YouTube, type in Buckeye Boys with a Z at the end. Hit the subscribe button on that one. Hit the like button as well. Show some love and support over there. I appreciate you guys tuning in to this early show. I told you guys I would put this out there for you. I'll keep you guys in the loop. Any information I hear about the transfer portal, I'll keep letting you guys know. The Buckeyes are very aggressive in this transfer portal. What up, Brass Tacks? Brass Tacks, that OG in the chats, I'll tell you that. I've been seeing him on Bucknuts Morning 5 for like, I don't know, 3 years now, dude? You've probably been there longer than that, but I've seen you there forever. Gia, thanks for the $5 again, bro. I'll say this again. Watch out for Sincere Johnson. He is a monster. Yeah, he won, Ohio Defensive Player of the Year. I keep getting told that, Gio. I keep getting told that, and I'm wondering if I underestimated Sincere because I think he's a 5-star level talent, but I did question it being the linebacker position if he can come in here and make an impact. That's what I was wondering, but dude, there's a lot of people talking about that. Not just like, not fans either. I'm talking about, in some of these chats I'm in with people that have been doing this for years, who do this professionally and rank these players and talk about these. Bill Green's one of them on the Scoop. He said, yo, dude, Sincere Johnson is a 5-star talent, and he's that dude. So, yeah, we'll see. I love our 26 class. We're officially number 5. Whoever took Georgia told you guys that was going to happen with Legend Bay. I'm in love with this 26 class. I think the Buckeyes knocked it out of the park. Would I have loved to have seen another running back? Yeah, but there's a reason why they didn't, guys. Wait till you see who we get in 2027. David Gabriel Georges and Bo Jackson in our running back room in 2027 is going to be lit. It's going to be lit. But all right, y'all. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. Again, 7:10, me, Nevada, Sports Talk Jay, going to be diving into some more transfer portal stuff. And I know this is wild to say, but there is even more Michigan shenanigans that came out today. More stuff popping off out of that program. I know it's not believable. I know you guys are thinking you guys are reaching now. No, we're not. There's more drama, more things. It's not going to end. I mean, they are an absolute crapshoot up there. So on that note, guys, hit that like button, please. Subscribe button as well. Appreciate everybody that joined the chat. I shall see y'all tonight. Love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.